Taking the next step on its lockdown lifting roadmap, millions of people in Britain will get their first chance in months for haircuts, casual shopping and even restaurant meals as several businesses across Britain resume operations. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirmed that pubs and restaurants could reopen to serve outdoor in just a week's time. Going forward with easing a second phase of COVID-19 restrictions, non-essential retail, gyms, hairdressers and outdoor hospitalities are all set to reopen. Meanwhile, pub owners and staff in England are preparing for the reopening of the outdoor hospitality services on the 12th of April.
We've ordered more beer and obviously stocked up on everything else. Cleaning, when we've been decorating, obviously we've had a lot of mess, so I've had the team in cleaning.
English pubs and restaurants can now serve drinkers and diners outside despite forecasts of wintry temperatures, thus bringing some cheer to the hard-hit hospitality industry after repeated closures.
Yeah, so we have about 4 tables out the front. We've got about 3 at the side. We've got quite a lot in. We have a beer garden at the back. We've got quite a few tables out the back. We can always get more chairs. We've got a couple of awnings up out the back. We're hoping, praying for fine weather. But yeah, we will see.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson has called the easing of restrictions a major step forward in the roadmap to freedom. Johnson had earlier promised to toast the latest easing of restrictions with a celebratory pint in a pub beer garden. However, he has put his plans on hold since the country went into mourning after the death of head of state Queen Elizabeth II's husband, Prince Philip. Britain has recorded more than 4.3 million positive cases since the outbreak began and over 127,000 deaths, one of the worst tolls anywhere in the world. Combating the surge, Johnson has reiterated that the government will be driven by data and not dates in its reopening plan. With this, the next anticipated easing date is due on the 17th of May. Joining us for more on this broadcast, we are being joined by WION's London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark. Mandy, I guess this is a day that majority of people in Britain had been waiting for, and credit must be given to the large-scale vaccination drive, isn't it?
Very much so. That is the key kind of tenet on how they were able to start the reopening of non-essential stores like clothing stores, bed stores. But it really is down to that vaccination program. Now, around 60% of adults have got their first jab. Many have also received their second. Because of that rollout, they feel confident that they can start easing those restrictions. And so we're seeing the opening of non-essential stores. We did expect larger numbers, but of course it's been unseasonably cold this morning. London woke up to a dusting of snow. It's unseasonably cold all across the country, and that might be keeping some of the shoppers away. Of course, the stores really do need them to come back. So they're hoping for warmer weather to encourage them, because right now, if you want to go and have that pint, you have to do it outside, and the cold weather might put some people off.
Mandy, but we can't ignore the economic hardships that people of Britain and all over the world have faced, isn't it? 2020 was economically one of the worst years for Britain in centuries. In 2020 alone, 67,000 retail jobs were shed. Some 17,500 chain store outlets vanished from high streets in Britain. And Britain is not alone. Anywhere across the world, wherever data is available, people have suffered due to lockdown restrictions. So I guess that explains the visuals that we're getting, people going out at midnight to grab a pint and to get their first haircuts in months, isn't it?
Exactly. It's been a year of lockdown. People are quite desperate. But the economic situation is quite big. It's been 3 centuries that the economy hasn't been this bad. You're absolutely right. They are very much hoping for that bounce back where consumers have that pent-up desire to start spending. So that is the big hope for the economy. The outlook forecast has been better than predicted, but of course the predictions are quite dour. So the UK economy desperately needs people to go out and start spending and living like they used to pre-pandemic to sustain and keep alive the stores that managed to survive lockdown. As you rightly point out, many big chain stores just simply didn't survive, and it has decimated the high street. So those that do survive, the government and the stores themselves are really asking people to come out and spend and help stimulate the economy.
Absolutely. One final question to you, Mandy. What's the next step in the lockdown lifting roadmap?
So the next step is next month, March 17th. Of course, if it all goes to plan, if they're seeing that continued downward trend. Now, they do expect a bit of a bounce of a resurgence of coronavirus cases just because people will be mingling more. So there is a likelihood that those cases will rise. As long as they don't rise astronomically, then we can expect that is when we will be allowed in the UK to
Right. Mandy Clark getting us the latest as Britain takes the next step as far as lockdown lifting roadmap is concerned. I'd like to thank Mandy for joining us from London.
So the answer is please.